There we go. Hey, Glenn, how are you doing? It's morning here in LA. Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Are you muted?
Muted. There you
Oh, there
go.
we go. Hey, good morning.
Minor technical difficulty. You have to have the mic on, right?
Well,
Message, the
that's an
message.
easier technical difficulty to solve than other things.
Yeah, well, the message can't be too good if you can't hear me. It'd be really, really good if I could do a good elevator pitch without sound.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, yeah. So, how are you today? How's the week going?
Week is going good. Week is going good. I think it's been some big wins and I've seen a lot of progress with some stuff. I've had a few difficulties with this puppy, but other than that, we're doing okay.
The dog issues.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the dog issues, the pup. I can hear him in the other room, kind of causing a bit of a ruckus, and I'm gonna have to have a few words with him when this is all done, and try to make things okay. But other than that, we're good to go.
Love it. Love it. Well, listen, it's a great day here, and I'm excited to be part of anything that you do, in particular here in your class. So thanks so much for having me right up front, and it's great to be in touch with. I see some names up here, Miguel, and I have to put my glasses on to see that. One's kind of little there. Good. Gulfam? I'm not sure.
Yeah, go for him.
Gulfam, yeah. And hey, Linda, Denise, and Kelvin, and Simon, and Alexander. Great to see all of you. Yeah, let's open up that chat. Anybody wants to come on live, we'd love to see your faces too. That's always helpful. So we at least feel like we're resonating somehow. But however you've got to do it, it's great to be here and sharing some time with you.
Yeah, I'm sharing this link to a couple other folks here real quick. Great. And I know that I was talking with some of these folks, so they might very well have the ability to kind of jump in and raise their hands and participate a little bit today. So this could be fun. But yeah, let's dive into it, man. Let's set you up and let's get this thing going. How introduce yourself and let's get started.
Sure. It's great to be here. If you've got questions on messaging or branding and how you interact with the world in terms of yourself or the ads, the way that you interact with Charlie, I'd love to help you out. That's what this is going to be all about, to try and get you to consider some things that maybe you didn't think about before. And for me, it all starts with the nonverbals. So just showing up. Now I know with your Facebook ads, maybe that's a little bit different, but ultimately, it's really all about creating a journey that the people who are seeing you, reading you, hearing you can go on with you, and that you're creating outcomes that will work for them. So some of the things that I'll ask you to consider today when I start throwing some slides up here are maybe things that you have considered, but maybe some things you haven't. And one of the things I always like to say, Charlie, is that you may be in a second or a third generation business. You may be in a startup. You may be in a really successful business that's been rolling along, pandemic or no pandemic. And a lot of the things that I will ask you and ask you to consider today might seem like basic blocking and tackling. But I find that when business owners get really involved and immersed in what they're doing, that very often they don't see it as the world sees it. They get very stuck in how they've been doing it and don't think about maybe there's other ways to look at it, other ways to strategize it. And that's the beauty about coming in contact with new people in terms of giving you new ideas. And hopefully some of what I bring up today will resonate with you, and you'll have that little aha moment, and your light bulb, like mine over here, will turn on, and you'll say, you know what, I didn't think of that. And if that happens for just one person here, that's great. And if it happens for multiple people, that's a total win for Charlie and for myself.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. Exactly. So let's dive into some of it. I've been telling people it's about, messaging, and I think we were talking about, performance, positioning, and a lot of this stuff. And I know that people are going to have a fair amount of questions regarding all of this. But how do we get started with some of these folks to start thinking about this problem solving?
Okay. Well, for starters, let's enable the screen sharing, and let me put a couple of slides up. Denise, good to see you. Thanks for coming on live with us. Hello, great to meet you.
Let's see here. I'm going to get you. I'm going to go ahead and make you a host.
All right.
And now you have control. There we go. Let's get some screen sharing going.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's get some. Whoop, let's see. Admit John Tarek. So somebody else just came in. I hope it was okay to bring them into the room.
Yeah.
John. Hey, John. Nice to have you here. Okay, so let's get some screen sharing. So let's share a screen. Let's share my desktop, and then we'll get rid of that sucker, and we'll go into this one. So you tell me, can you see who am I, Charlie?
I can see that. Can everybody else see it? All right, we got a thumbs up from Denise. Okay, we're good.
All right, I'm Glenn Rudin. That's me. That's all of me, as opposed to just this much of me, in case you wanted to see all of me. I've got 30 years of sales and marketing background with Fortune 500s and startups. I've been in the entrepreneurial space for longer than you can imagine. I'm a consultant and a coach. I'm a product development expert. I help people who've got product ideas, get them created, manufactured, sourced, and imported with a focus on China in particular. Been doing that for about 25 years also. I'm a public speaker. Hopefully that will be evident when I'm done with my presentation today. If not, then I've got some work to do. I'm an author. Got a new book that's going to be coming out in October called A Brand in Your Hand. I'm a mentor, I'm a dad, and I didn't include it on here, but I'm a granddad with two granddaughters. So I've got a lot of different stuff going on. And I love interacting with entrepreneurial people and business owners and helping them hopefully see things differently than they see them now. So, would you do business with you? That's the name of the full seminar that I do. And it's an interesting question, and it applies to the ads that you do for sure. It applies to you and the presentations that you do and the way that you show up where you are. Just a quick story. I network here extensively where I live in Long Island, about 30 miles east of New York City. And over the course of 4 or 5 years, I've met a lot of people from every single walk of business life. And I've been to your BNIs and your Chamber of Commerce's and your this meeting and that meeting, early, late, whatever. And one of the meetings that I was going to about 4 or 5 years ago, every month I would show up religiously, and this other gentleman would show up who had been separated from his company, had been a chief financial officer for many, many years, and about 10, big company, and he was let go. So he would come to these meetings, and rather than looking like a CFO, he would look like somebody that was coming to your Thanksgiving luncheon wearing a V-neck cardigan sweater and corduroys, and he would be awfully casual at these meetings. And when we went around the table, I'm sure you've all been at meetings like this, and someone said, okay, your turn. He would be leaning back, leaning comfortably, and in his best cardigan relaxed attire, he would announce himself as in transition. I'm in transition. And everybody at the meeting would be completely deflated by that because naturally he wasn't in transition. He was a chief financial officer who at the moment wasn't gainfully employed at a company. But because of the way he introduced himself, nobody looked at him as a CFO. They looked at him as either a wanted or unwanted guest for a Thanksgiving luncheon that was yet to happen. I don't know what happened to him, but after about 6 of these meetings, one morning I went out to my car and said, wow, that guy wouldn't hire himself, wouldn't do business with himself if he was sitting on the other side of the table. And so my goal always when I speak, Charlie, and to everybody who's here today, is to get you to think, what does it look like on the other side of the table? So whether it's you presenting, you networking, you having a business meeting or a presentation, or even in the ads that you're putting into Facebook campaigns, what does it look like from over there? How does it look to them, not to you? And that's where that comes from. How many of you might be guilty of this, right? Tongue in cheek, I always say, if you're yelling for health and you're counting on us to interpret your ads or your presentations or what your motivations are, and maybe we're not that smart, we're just not going to connect. So you've got to be super smart in the way that you do what you do so that if we're yelling health, that's not going to get it done. We need to be crystal clear that the message is help, and then maybe we can help you out. So with that, think about this. Guess what? It just takes 8 seconds for us to say we're either working with you or we're not. Now, that has to do with in person and nonverbals and verbals, but the same can be said for the ads that you run in Facebook. If you're not crystal clear, if someone doesn't get what your offer is immediately and right out of the gate, they're gone. And you know how many messages, you know how many ads we see in a day. We're besieged, we're overrun. We don't have time to think about, hey, did I eat lunch today? Do I have to go to the bathroom? Let alone considering the offer that you've put together in your ad. So let's make sure that we understand how time crunched people are and understand how obvious we've got to make this. And ways that that we can do that have to do with, and this is the story I told you earlier about the unknown job seeker and why appearance is so important. But let's talk a little bit about your personal brand really quickly, and then we're going to go over this quickly. But understand that 55% of us are going to judge you based on how you look, and the same can be said for the ads that you've got running and the things that you're doing. Right? It's quick, it's fast. We look and we either like it or we don't like it. And so again, you've got to look at it from our perspective. This is who we are. We may be shallow, but you're dealing with us as shallow. Same thing here on appearance. This might not relate to the topic today, but recruiters, same thing. They feel like, people get passed over for promotions, for raises, just based on the way they dress. Because someone down the hall looks more the part than you do, you've got a better chance at succeeding. So, what's the first thing you think of when you see this person? Normally when I'm doing this and it's interactive, somebody will say, wow, she's professional, she's ready to do business, she's young, she's attractive, all different positive words like that. And yet if I introduced you to her and I said, listen, this is the FBI's picture of the woman who's the #1 cyber crime thief in America, why, you'd have a completely different impression of her. Likewise, this guy, if I asked you for first impressions of him, you might tell me, wow, troublemaker, young guy, non-directed, scary, not a guy that I want to come in contact with. And yet I could tell you that this guy is the #1 cyber crime fighting employee in America. He puts up cyber walls all over the place. You'd have a completely different impression of him. So do you have confirmation bias? You bet you do. Because if you jump to a conclusion about either one of those people or about any of these people you see on the screen, you've got it. And that's going to apply to the ads that you put in Facebook as well. Certain keywords are going to tip people off about things. We got a hot mic somewhere.
I think that's Linda.
Yeah. Let's get Linda muted if we can. Do I have to do that? Oh, there we go. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute myself just in case.
Sure. So you've got confirmation bias, and that means all the people who you're trying to appeal to, well, they've got it also. So depending on what your ad looks like and what it tells somebody on first glance, before they even have a chance to read it, it's the same as a nonverbal message that you give off as a speaker or a networker or somebody that you come in contact with. That ad immediately is going to tell somebody, I either want to hear more, I want to read more, I want to pay attention, or I can't wait to find the delete button and get rid of it. And if you understand this about yourself, here's a little tip. For the people that you come in contact with in your life, friends, family, colleagues, partners, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, let them know also. We're judging them as well. We as a society, because of everything that's gone on with COVID, working from home, living at home, we've granted ourselves a lot of leeway. And you have to keep in mind that the people who you're trying to appeal to, they may not be granting you the same leeway you're granting yourself. So while it might be more comfortable for me to show up here in my University of Maryland t-shirt, I'm not going to do that. because when you look at me, I want you to get a vibration about what I do, how I do it, and who I am. My nonverbals have to be strong because your confirmation bias is real. So, this is really important when I ask people to consider what we're talking about today. Here is your typical shampoo aisle in a mass market store. I don't care if it's Walmart or Target or CVS or Walgreens or wherever you happen to do your shopping. Now you'll notice it's not a place that I visit anymore. I've got the shaved head. I'm not looking for the shampoo aisle. But when people come to me and they say, hey, Glenn, I've got a great idea for a new product. And I say, what is it? Oh, and they say, oh, it's going to be this great shampoo item. And I say, wonderful. Where's it going to go? Where's it going to sell? Besides online, you might have an online presence. Oh, it's going to go in the mass market aisle at fill in the blank. I say, great. Let's go take a walk into that store, see what it looks like. So we'll walk down the aisle together in Target or CVS, and this is what it looks like. Now, this shelf happens to be beautifully merchandised, right? Every space is filled. You'll notice that. All the branding is perfectly done. And the one other thing you'll notice, there's no space on that shelf for me. So if you consider where your ads are going on Facebook and the competition that you have there, what are you going to do to stand out on that shelf? Because ultimately, if you don't stand out on the shelf in life, we just pass you by. It's really that simple. The other thing I tell people who come to me on the product development front is, look, if you can't come up with a way to appeal to the buyer, so the buyer says, yes, I'm going to welcome that onto my shelf, you are done. You are toast. And it happens like that. Just like when you're walking down that aisle. If that green label doesn't appeal to you and then you pick that up and you look at it, it doesn't say something you like, you're gone. And you know why? Because these are all products in categories that we know and we understand. Yeah, I might not be using a shampoo right now, but I've used one in the past and you use one also. And so you're going to say to yourself, I'm comfortable with my shampoo. I like the way it smells. I like the way it feels. I like the way it rinses out of my hair. Or I like that it's organic. Or I like this, or I like that, or the other thing. Well, what about the ads about your products that you're putting into your Facebook spots? If they're just the same as everybody else's, why are we going to stop? Why are we going to click? Why are we going to want to know more? It's all about differentiation. And that's really where it takes time to think about what is going into your pitch. So let's lose that shelf for a moment and understand we are going to judge you like a book. And we're going to do the same things with your ads. We're not necessarily going to dig into all the way down into the bottom of your offer. If it's not apparent and obvious to us right up front, you see that guy in the middle, he's got a score of 6. You might not even get a 6. You might not even get a rating because someone's not going to take the time to look at the rest of it or understand what your strategy is for how you're trying to convert them in that aisle that we just walked down. Ultimately, your ad is trying to get me to do something different than what I'm doing now. Hand raising. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, Linda, yeah, Denise, super. Yeah, thank you, Kelvin. Right. So if your ad isn't going to do that, isn't going to have some kind of appeal that's going to make us say, hey, wait a second, that's different. Mine doesn't do that. That does. That's that moment, that glint of recognition that someone's going to take to say, now I want to read more. Now I want to click further into it. And if you don't have that, we just don't have the time. We don't have the time. So, this is on personal branding. I'm not going to take your time up on this now, but do keep in mind, you do carry your personal brands with you. And so separating yourself for a moment from your companies, from your ads, let's make sure that you understand that you potentially, depending on how you got your company organized, you are the spokesperson for your brand. You are the spokesperson for your brand. And if what you say, what you write about your company or your product doesn't match what you're trying to accomplish with your ad or your service, you start to create separation and dissonance. And people start to misunderstand who you are versus the company is. So if it's at all possible for you to own your personal brand and make it align with your business, it's super important and it makes it a much smoother process for your customers to understand what it is you're doing. How many of you are on Instagram beside Facebook and out there in a social sense where you're broadcasting messages out to your potential audience? I see Linda raised her hand. Not you, Denise. You're not out there. How about you, Calvin? No? Okay. So that wouldn't necessarily apply to you, but at least we're reaching Linda here, and that's important because your personal brand is really, really important. We'll move through this pretty quickly, and you could always reach out to me through Charlie, and I can help you with some more stuff on personal branding. The next few slides are really about how you show up here on places like Zoom, because a lot of people that I run into also make the mistake of thinking it doesn't matter what it looks like here behind me. But when you're in the virtual world, you're bringing all that with you in terms of your reputation and who you are. So I just ask people to be aware. If it's a mess behind you, we might think you're a mess. We don't want to be involved with somebody who might be a mess with our product, our campaign, our products, our services. Not interested, right? So, get to know your virtual backgrounds. Again, we'll fly through this and really get to the meat and potatoes of some differentiation stuff. Any quick questions on appearance while we're right here? I know there's a bunch of stuff in the chat. I'm hesitant about getting into it right now. I don't want to break up the presentation, but we'll have plenty of time in about 15 minutes to get through whatever you want. So we talked about the pitch. How about what I call fleshing out your purpose and your positioning? This is the meat and potatoes of what I really wanted to take Charlie's group through today. Why does your business matter? How many of you right now, I can't see Miguel. I don't know who else is potentially on the call with us. Just show of hands for the people I can see. When is the last time, or in the last month, have you asked yourself the question, why does my company, product, or service matter? Who's done that? Okay, Kelvin says he has. And Linda says she has. Great. Can either of you unmute yourselves and tell us one sentence about why your business exists? If you want to be put on the spot. No? No brave volunteers? You see anybody, Charlie, that's raising a hand?
I'll go.
There we go. I got unmute. Yeah, we got Miguel and Gulfum both raised their hand too. They might be
Oh,
able to
super.
unmute,
Okay,
pop
so
in.
all right. I can't see that. So Miguel, go ahead. Tell us.
Hey guys, what's up? So I sell apparel, and there's for men, there's a big issue where shopping is no fun anymore. It's a very frustrating experience. So I help remove those frustrations from the shopping experience for apparel by building products that fit consistently for longer, and they work for you, for your comfort and for your looks. So it removes a whole bunch of frustrations from shopping. That's why my company exists.
Okay. I would say your company exists because a lot of men have difficulty with the fit and function of their wardrobes. A lot of men have difficulty with the fit and function of their wardrobes. Would you agree with that, Miguel?
That is precisely correct. And that's what you see written plastered across the internet on every single review.
Okay.
There's a inconsistency across the board.
Okay. And that is your why you matter. That's why you matter. And that makes it really easy for you pitch wise and in your ads to make that the cornerstone of what you do. Hey, do you have trouble with your wardrobe, with the fit of your clothing or the function of your clothing? Well, listen, if I'm a guy and I do, now you got me listening. Now you got me reading. Now you want me wanting to hear more. Really crystal clear, right?
That's exactly right.
Or you know what,
Miguel?
Miguel, you know what? You might know, I don't know if you've done this research on how many men and or women too struggle with the fit and function of their clothes. Is that a stat you might have?
No, I don't have that stuff.
That's a
Uh,
stat you might want to figure out how to get, even if you do some what I call cul-de-sac researching. Thank you, Miguel. It's great to have you contribute here.
thank
Who
you.
else wanted to jump in? I'm at the dentist, no camera. Messaging is my passion. Love this. Long Island. Okay, I'm out here. Love to get in touch with you further. Professional. Just getting started on Instagram. LI is great for personal brand, with a lot of ad sensitivity and rules against using the word you. Do you have a tip for an alternative way to be direct? So, Alexander, give me an example of what you're asking there.
Yeah, it's just sometimes when it comes to ad copy, there's like certain rules against gender, race, ethnicity to try to be as you can't like. There's a lot of sensitivity around the word "you" when you're using it in ad copy. So I'm hearing what you're saying. You're dropping truth bombs here on like speak to the person who's reading it directly to their pain point. What's a solution or an alternative for the word "you" that is direct to a reader, to someone to accept that stimulus?
Okay, so Alexander, what business are you in again?
I run paid media ads for businesses.
Paid media ads for businesses.
I run Facebook ads and Google ads and Snapchat ads for other brands.
So, what would be a typical example of an ad that you would do where you'd use the word you?
It's for an aggregator of a kite surfing experience platform where it's sort of speaking out to people saying, are you tired of traveling alone and not making friends? And then this kayak experience allows you to book kite surfing and kayak trips with other solo travelers in a group environment.
So, in other words, you're speaking from the perspective of the company you're placing the ad for.
Correct.
So, what I would do, okay, if you want to get specific on something like the kayaking industry or the travel industry, is refer to those people as who they are. Solo travelers, right? That would be, in your ad. Solo travelers, and this is not exact. Solo travelers hate getting to a destination and not having a reason for enjoying the space. Kayaking might be one of them, right? Again, so you're dealing with a company that what do they do in kayaking? Let's just dig into this a little bit further for a minute.
So yeah, so they basically like take an aggregator like a booking.com, right? Where they are just listing other possibilities that you can book. They aggregate kayaking, kite surfing, a multitude of water action sports, tapping into those passionate individuals and then allowing them to book an experience that comes with flights, accommodations, foods, coaching and instructions and equipment, and in a group setting where they have a social atmosphere around them. So say, for example, Glenn, you like to go kite surfing. None of your friends kite surf with you in Long Island. You really want to go, but it's kind of a difficult decision to want to go alone to Madagascar to go kite surfing. So this solution lets you book a trip knowing that other people in a social sense have pre-booked that trip. They're going to go on this week. You can reach out to them before you decide to book to kind of have a social experience while you're traveling.
Okay, so you might want to try something like we put the social into adventure travel. We put the plans into adventure travel. Adventure travelers love us because we provide the activity, the social ability, the experience.
Got it. So it's flipping the perspective on them, the you, and saying we
Right.
do this. We. Got it.
Right. Because if again, if you're running out of, again, I always like to look at it from, or how about this? The last time you thought about an adventure travel trip, what stopped you? Right? That might get somebody's attention, right? We take the uncertainty out of your adventure travel trip. Planned activities, upfront gatherings, and restaurant experiences, a couple of bullet points that go there.
Got it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. I mean, some of these things are a little bit hard to do precisely on the spot, but hopefully at least it gives you a way to appeal without using that word you, without using the word you. Or our adventure travelers have a better time because we provide the activity schedule, we provide the social ability, we provide the location information. Then down below, get in touch with us for more details. So in other words, you're assuming the sale on the satisfied customers you've already had. Our happy, our satisfied adventure travelers. That's how you're starting it. So that somebody else who's an adventure traveler but not necessarily satisfied, well, no one ever worried about me being satisfied on my adventure trip. Once they got my money, they didn't care. Our travelers have more fun because we do the following things.
Got it. That's awesome. Thank you, Glenn.
Okay, good. Just digging a little bit deeper into this form, and I can supply this to a blank one of these well, let me just get that out of the way there. So just move that chat down. I'll get rid of that chat. Well, let's just put it over here for the moment. So just digging a little bit deeper into this, we'll go for another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll open it up to everybody. So if you know why you matter, now what do you do? What do you do? So we talked earlier, about ways to appeal to that user that's going by. Well, when's the last time you took a look at what your competitors do, and how do you do it, and how do you differentiate from them? So if somebody was looking at your service and said, oh, they do it the same exact way, keep in mind that habit. If they've already got that business as their habit, then they're not going to want to necessarily flip to what you're doing unless you can tell them why you do it better, more interestingly, more efficiently, less expensively, with less headaches, right? Those are the things that will enable you to build on your strengths versus what the competitors are doing. You don't want to be out there as a me too, because as human beings, we have habits. It's terrible. Just as a quick story about this, during the Vietnam War, we as a country were always under attack at mealtime because we just figured it's mealtime. Who's going to want to attack us? Lunchtime, dinner time, breakfast time. It was a habit we got into. And you've got to get out of the habit of doing what everybody else is doing in order to stand out. Another example, talk about this. If you right now in your life, I assume, get your taxes done, you've got an accountant or a bookkeeper, maybe you do them yourself, I don't know. But if you've got a system that you use already, and an accountant or a bookkeeper comes along and says, hey Charlie, I want to be your bookkeeper, I want to be your accountant. And Charlie's going to say, hey, listen, my accountant now is sworn to secrecy. He knows where all my accounts are in the Canary Islands. I'm not really interested in letting you know all that stuff unless you're going to give me a really good reason why you can give me better tax havens or protect my family better or keep me out of jail if the IRS finds out about the Canary Island connection that I've got. The point is, we all get comfortable with these people in our lives. Accountants, lawyers, doctors, dentists. Charlie's your coach, your teacher, your mentor. And in order for us to want to change, we've got to have a really good reason why someone's going to say, you know what? Charlie just came along and he gave me a better reason why he should be my Facebook ads coach. My other Facebook ads coach didn't do any of that stuff. So he did it differently. And why is it relevant? Because it's going to get me a deeper experience in what I'm doing. What do Charlie's students, customers get? They get better insight into how to place these Facebook ads, right? So these questions on this sheet, I would say 95% of the companies, clients that I come in contact with, this stuff they've never even considered. Occasionally, you might find somebody who thinks they've gotten a little bit into their why. Why are you doing what you do? And that's where it ends. The truth is, that's where it begins. You can see how the rest of this sheet has to get filled out. And once you take the time to go through a sheet like this and go sit your fanny down and do this exercise, that's when you can really start to place ads that are meaningful and show that you've taken the time to think about your business in ways that your competitors haven't. Really, really essential. It's the nuts and bolts of what I really wanted to impart on everybody who, who's able to make it today. Just go one step further here and then let you know that based on that sheet, the why we matter, you then have got to develop 10-second grabber statements, your standard stock 30-second elevator pitches, and then when someone says, hey, Glenn, I want to hear more about that. Can you tell me a story? Super. Let's set up a call. Let me tell you about a couple of clients that I've had in the past. 2 or 3 minutes, like the story I told you about the guy who inspired me to create Would You Do Business With You? So you need all 3 of these in your repertoire. They need to be practiced. They need to be written out. They need to be rehearsed, not mechanically. You've got to be comfortable doing them, but you've got to be comfortable doing them. And then from these, you can pull bits and pieces and elements out that you start to use in the ads you place on Facebook so that you've got points of differentiation there. So you're thinking about it differently. So the audience who's seeing that sees it from a different perspective and says, oh, even though I get this now, the person that I do this with now doesn't do it that way. Maybe I've got to lean in and listen a little bit more. So I won't get really deeply into the elevator pitch stuff. I think that would be another day and another time. We really wanted to go through the nuts and bolts of what we just did now, and I hope that was really, really helpful. Questions?
Who's got some questions for this? I know Denise was excited about it. Maybe we can start there and then just go around the horn with some folks. If you want to maybe drop it in the chat that you've got some questions, and we can start with that. But I think Denise was the last person to talk, so that's just why I was calling that out. And we were chatting yesterday, and she was like, yeah, I want to talk very much about my situation.
So yeah, I don't see Denise up on the. Oh, hey Denise, how you doing? So you're in software sales, is that right?
I think that's part of what I need to get clarity on is okay. I have software, but I also want to sell coaching that comes along with how to use the software. And the software came up so that I would have recurring revenue, but my initial how I got into the software was because I was going to sell coaching. I don't know, coaching or either a done for you or a done with you, or the software would be DIY. But
Denise, what problem does your software solve?
It automates getting clients for coaches.
Automates getting clients for coaches. Okay, automates getting clients for, and how does it do that? I don't want you to give away something that you feel is like proprietary.
No. I'm just trying to. I'm trying to think it through. I mean, we can all know about it.
And I will tell you this, not to put you on the spot. I appreciate you raising your hand. You've got to have it like that. Because if you don't have it like that, then your confidence in what you're doing transfers to us, and we start thinking, how in the world is her software going to do what she's saying if she's not able to convince us in 10 seconds that this is something that I need to hear about that's going to solve a problem for me? And I don't say that from a critical standpoint. My pitch, I let people know that 80% of the people I come in contact with have no idea what their message is. And their pitches reflect that. And their pitch performances reflect that. That's why there's a robust business out there for me to help people with messaging and coaching. But if you can't come across with confidence in 5 seconds through the posture and the positivity about what you're doing, there's no way in the world we're going to raise our hands and say, okay, you can help me, because we've got to feel like this is something that you eat, sleep, drink, and have so much confidence in, you're almost willing to guarantee it to us. Does that make sense?
I think you just helped me answer my question.
Okay.
I think my big question right now is am I selling a DIY, a done with you, or a done for you? And I keep saying, yeah, I want to sell a software, I want to sell a software. And the software is easy to use, but I'm technical. It's easy for me, but I really think if I throw it at a coach, they're just gonna still get frustrated. So I'm selling it as it's not frustrating, but I think they still will. So
how about this? How about this, Denise? Are you a coach? Are you a great coach, but you're having trouble finding clients? Is that what your software helps me do?
Yeah, if it's set up.
Well,
so I'm thinking maybe I should start off with selling the service of a complete done for you. Just turn on the switch with me, and I'll turn on the switch and just feed you your customers, feed you your clients. And by the way, you have to use this platform. You have to use this platform with a monthly fee, right? It's got this stuff. You have to pay the light bill. You have to pay the utility bill to keep the lights on.
Yeah, well, forget all that stuff. I don't want to be reminded that I can't pay my bills. What I want to be reminded of is, just hear how this sounds. Denise, are you a great coach, but you're having problems getting clients because there doesn't seem to be a simple way to find them? What if I told you I had a solution for you that would enable you to multiply your efforts tenfold by just using some great software that I have available? Would you be interested in hearing more about that?
Oh. Okay.
I guess my point is, you're appealing to, listen, with the advent of COVID, there is a plethora of coaches out there, right? Everybody's a coach now. Everybody pivoted to the coaching space. Everybody wants to be a coach. I can coach, you can coach, he can coach, she can coach, they can coach, it can coach, right? Everybody wants to be a coach. But what is everybody who wants to be a coach? What's the one thing that they need in order to be a coach?
People to coach, clients.
Coach. If you're a great coach, but you can't find the people to coach, I've got software that will handle that job for you. Get in touch with me. This will be easier than you ever thought.
Huh.
Your appeal is to starving coaches. Are you a great coach that doesn't have enough clients? Are you a coach that doesn't have your coaching schedule filled out?
Yeah.
That's not achieving your sales goals. My software, I don't know if you want to say guaranteed, my software will virtually bring the clients to your door. But you have to use it. Get in touch with me. Let me give you a demo on how it works.
Okay. But then they got to run Facebook ads to it.
Well, okay, I understand that. They've got to run Facebook ads. That's part of your program.
I see.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Or should I sell the program and say, are you a great coach? My program will allow you to just coach, right?
I think why you matter is coaches don't have enough clients.
Yes.
You're a good coach, you're qualified, you don't have enough clients. So to me, your business matters because you have a software that if I use and I use it the right way, it's going to bring the clients. So the person I'm appealing to is the coach that doesn't have enough clients. What that solution is, I don't want to get somebody all bogged down in software stuff, because guess what? Somebody could be a great coach, but they might not be really comfortable with technology. you can worry about that later when you walk them through it and you show them how simple it is. But how many people might get turned off up front when you start selling software? That's a little scary to me.
Oh, okay.
I want your
Okay.
solution to be simple. Hey, Glenn, are you a
Okay.
coach but you don't have enough clients? Guess what, Denise? Yeah, that's right. Great, get in touch with me. I can help you get more clients. I've got a proven system that really, really works.
Okay. Okay. All
To
right.
me, that's it. To me, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I got it.
Okay.
Now all the gears are running. That's why I'm quiet. It's just because I'm thinking of all the things at the same
Okay.
time.
Well, that's the whole idea is to
Yeah.
get everybody thinking about stuff. I got time probably for one
That's cool.
more question or two, maybe. Anybody else?
Yeah, Glenn, I have a question.
Sure. Hey, Kelvin.
Hey, how would you research on behalf of clients that don't understand their own value or their own why?
Say
Or
it
how
again.
would you get, so you're working with a client and they don't understand their own value or their own why, they're obviously not expressing it well. How would you research for them or help them to start to come up with the answers?
Okay. I have an exercise that I do with my clients, which is called, and listen carefully to this, it's taking your inventory of business and personal assets. Taking your inventory of business and personal assets. What does that mean? We all, through our careers, have got a resume, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, or 40 years long, whatever the case may be. Those are all chronological stops along the business highway of your life. But if you said to me, hey, Glenn, what can you tell me about product marketing? And I could say, well, I worked at Revlon for 4 years. That was my first major Fortune 500 company that I worked for. And I would be telling you nothing. But if I told you that I worked on the launch of a women's high-end cosmetic and treatment line that we built around the story of the Monte Catini mud spa in Italy, and we used that experience to create an incredible story about the natural healing elements of these products and why they were going to appeal to an upscale crowd of women who would be willing to spend, over $50, $75, $100 on a treatment product. Now, for me, that's an inventory asset in my career. It's an experience that I went through that I can call on, that I can talk about, so that when someone says, what do you know about branding? What do you know about product development? That's just one of 25 asset stories that I would have. And so what you need to do with your client is you need to get them to realize the value that they have based on their inventory of business and personal assets. And they need to commit those actually to paper so that when someone says, what value do you bring? You can say, well, listen, I'm Glenn. This is the value that I bring. I worked at, I had this unbelievable story working at Sherwin-Williams, the paint company, working with an entire group of blue collar workers that taught me how important posture, messaging, nonverbal skills were, because I was a young 21-year-old kid, first job out of college. These guys were hardcore, hardened, blue collar workers. And they could either interpret me as he's some pushover, or because he shows up and he means business where he is. Doesn't matter if he's 21, he's got poise and he steps into his role, and we're going to have to respect him because he's not going to take our crap. That is an asset that I have based on that experience that I went through. So when someone says to me, what do you know about posture? What do you know about positioning, body language, and things like that? I can tell them that story. And it's really believable. And you know what it does for me, Kelvin? It makes me feel really good about me because I'm the only one who can tell that story and has that in my inventory. So the
Yes.
more your clients can pull together their list of their inventory, the better they're going to feel about what they do, and the better they're going to understand the value that they bring. Because remember, and I'm sure you've heard this, but if you hadn't, it's worth repeating. When you're a consultant like me, and I'm getting $5,000 for, from a client for, for a 6-week engagement, they're not paying me that money right now on the spot in terms of, what am I doing for them right then and there? They are paying me for a 35-year career in consumer packaged goods, in product development, in branding, in merchandising, and all the rest of that. That's the value that I can bring to somebody. And I understand that about me. I stay in my lane and I know what it means. So if you've got clients that are in doubt, the best way that you can help them is to help them realize what their true value is based on doing that exercise. And I'll tell you something else. Mentally, it's an incredible exercise because when someone actually takes the time to think about what they've been through and the experiences they have, if they're able to step into it, they feel like $1 million about themselves.
Excellent. Thank you. That's great advice. I appreciate it.
Okay, super, super. All right, what do you think, Charlie? I think we're about ready to wrap it up.
There we go. I'm trying to find that unmute. I was taking. I had my pen out, my notebook here, just trying to do stuff, and then couldn't find the button. I'm sure we can all relate. You okay, puppy? He's excited too. Yeah. No, I think that's great, man. I really appreciate it. And how can all these people reach back out to you and make sure that they can get in touch with you? I on your screen of all the lovely information, what I'm not seeing is like a website or a phone number or an email or your Instagram handle or like a million things. There we go. Glenn at alwaysbeencreative.com.
Yep, you can also find Glenn Rudin on LinkedIn. Simply, link up with me there. Really active there. You can find me on Instagram, Glenn_Rudin_message master. The best way, the most direct, is Glenn at alwaysbeencreative.com, or find me on Instagram or LinkedIn. Not a problem. Book will be out in October. Thank you for asking. That's going to be just real quick plug. It's going to be the first rhyming full color business book that's got wonderful color drawings in it. This is a section on elevator pitch. So on the left side there, you can see is a lovely picture of an elevator, and there's a little stopwatch going off at 30 seconds in there, just to give you the idea. You've got 30 seconds to impress us. Your elevator pitch is the next thing to master. If you're unprepared, it can be a disaster. You've got a few seconds to make an impression, to let us know why this is now your obsession. For your elevator pitch, I must persist. In just half a minute, give us the gist of what you are offering and why it's so good. When you say it succinctly, it will be understood. The whole book is written like a Dr. Seuss book in rhyme, like that. Really,
I love it.
easy
Red
to
fish,
work.
blue fish, make money, you fish.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just like
Love it.
that.
I love it. Well, thank you very much, Glenn. I really appreciate it. And maybe we can do this another time and dive into some other stuff. If people found some value here, and it seems like I'm seeing some head nods, and I want to try to do this more often. I really appreciate it, man. You and I found each other on Clubhouse however long ago, and now we're here, and whatever somebody's opinion about Clubhouse may or may not be, hey, it worked for us, and that's what's good.
Absolutely. Love it. Listen, Denise, Linda, I'm sorry we didn't get to hear from you. Gutham, thank you for contributing. John, Eric, Kelvin, thank you for that great question. And I know we had some other people that were asking earlier. Love to come back. I love workshopping this with people so that you get questions and answers like this in real depth, so that you can take hopefully what is useful information and go back and apply it. Feel free to reach out to me, any of you, at any time on my email there, and I am sure I will get back to you. We can set up a one-on-one Zoom call, do some brainstorming. Love it. Love the opportunity, Charlie. Love what you do, and I'm thrilled to get to contribute just a bit.
Well, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think, can you make me the host again? And that way, just if this recording will have the greatest opportunity of not being lost, and we'll be good to go there. I really appreciate it, everybody. Gulfum, I'm going to see you in about a half an hour, and I think we got some more one-on-ones later this week with everybody. Great to see everybody. I really appreciate it. I hope today was great. Thank you, Glenn. I really appreciate it. And well, until next time, I'll see you all on the internet.
Thank you. Everybody
Thank you,
be in
Glenn.
touch.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank
All right.
you.
All right.
Bye.
Stay
Bye,
safe.
thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for all your time and attention. See ya.